Okay, hello everybody. So today we are going to be looking at a portrait, if you will, by Konstantin Bokov, who is a New York City street artist. This is a piece made out of found materials, which is what Bokov is famous for. And I'll let you, before I describe it, I'll kind of let you guess what the materials are. Bokov was born in the Ukraine. He came to the United States in the 70s. He was trained formerly as an artist. His kind of interesting background. He was, I believe, a sheep herder. Seriously, in the Ukraine. He came to New York City and quickly became part of like the informal what's known today as the East Village art scene of the late 70s, early 80s. Now, a lot of the painters are kind of forgotten, but some of the prominent ones you probably know of, which is Keith Haring, Jean-Michel Basquiat, Kenny Scharf, guys like that. And what's interesting is that Bokov, his pieces hung right alongside Basquiat and Haring in a place called the Now Gallery, which exhibited and gave an early start to a lot of these painters in New York in the late 70s, early 80s. And of course, as you know, we kind of appreciate today, Basquiat and Haring were really street artists. They started off doing similar work to Bokov, working sort of in an informal way, doing graffiti or what have you. Now, what's interesting is that I call Bokov an urban artist, but he actually never got involved in graffiti. His idea was to create pieces like this and leave them on the street. So rather than, vandalizing private or public property, which, really that's what graffiti is, no matter, how you want to put it, he would actually, contribute to the public by leaving these types of pieces on the street. And he was always working with found materials, recycling, and that's the part of the title of these pieces. This was done in the early 90s, 1992, and this piece is made out of, again, think of this as New York in the early 90s. It's made out of a shoe, some looks like caps from film cans, Kodak film, remember film, and a Beretta. I'm sorry, not a Beretta. It's a Bianchi gun holster. Oh no, it is a Beretta gun holster. It's a Beretta. Okay, and this looks like I guess like a something you tuck into your belt. I'm assuming this belonged to a New York City detective, probably downtown, thrown out of the garbage. Who knows? But very typical of New York. Now, the title of this piece, as Bokov called it, is Bulletproof. Of course, not spelled correctly, but it's part of the charm. Again, when you think back when this was done, this was really a period of its time. In the early 90s, New York was sort of going through a major crime wave with the crack epidemic. Just really, the city was kind of out of control. Now, what's interesting is that Bokov, he really, I believe, is probably one of the really few authentic urban artists or street artists, as we might call them. Like a lot of today's artists in the genre are really better at getting publicity than they are doing highly original art, or stuff that actually, I believe, will sort of stand the test of time. Artists like Banksy, very clever. Obviously, the guy has a unique sensibility. Will it last? Will it people 50 years from now understand its social context? I don't know the answer to that. Probably not. His pieces are very sort of the moment. I think they're very sort of like they're more of a fashion statement than sort of a timeless art. And certainly, I don't think their market value will last. Paying, I don't know. Oh, what's interesting is, of course, these street artists, trying to, they're all, I guess, trying to keep it real, as it were. So yet they all make their money by producing limited edition prints. So, they vandalize private or public property, painting on a wall, and then of course capitalize on it by, selling 500 prints at a couple $1,000s a piece to what I would call really unwitting buyers. I don't think that any of that art will have any lasting value over the next 10 years. It's clever today for sure. I think the guy does very interesting work, great publicity, but not anything that will last. Bokov, I think, is kind of on the opposite of that extreme. He was kind of a real authentic artist, and his work, he was never really commercially, he never really took off because he never really played into the art game, and he was not a marketing oriented artist. He was really just interested in creating. And he would create these pieces, and instead of selling them, he would just hang them up on the street and leave them there for people to enjoy and sometimes to take home with them. So this is a kind of little portrait, as you can see. It's a little character. That's all his great pieces are, really characters. So I believe that Bokov, as his art is becoming more appreciated today, I've been selling pieces to a lot of pretty serious collectors, and I think we're probably going to see stuff like this take off and sell in the, I don't know, 5,000-10,000 range. Why would that be? Not unexpected if you compare it to sort of the peer group. I mean, Basquiat or Herring or Banksy, we're looking at high 6 figures, 7 figures in the case of Basquiat. And I think people are going to start to appreciate Bokov as some of his work is rediscovered and put into the right context. I think what's really been missing is people do not know how to place, what context to place him in. He never had major gallery representation, really, because I just don't think that he fit into that world. He did not play the art game, as it were. And to be a really successful artist, financially successful, you do need to play that game. That was not him. He's very authentic. There's a lot of integrity to his work, and I believe also to his personality. Anyway, this piece, and I have several others, are available on my site and also on eBay. I have a very large collection, and I've been paring it down because I have probably about 80 pieces. So I'd like to share them with the world, and perhaps that could be you.